Hi, this is Harvania, and I welcome you to Volume 5 of Harvania's Helpful Hints for Clinical Research Coordinators. Before I get into this particular volume, I would like to take a moment. Today is February the 27th, 2020. I would like to take a moment to recognize Black History Month and the contributions of the people who were before me that allowed me to be at the place I am right now. From my ancestors that came from Africa and came to the United States as slaves, those who went through the time of Reconstruction, those who went through Jim Crow, the Voting Rights Act, segregation of schools, integration of schools, all of those things that allowed me to be able to go to Texas A&M University, get my degree in biochemistry, and work in clinical research. I thank you for your contributions, and I recognize that me being where I am today is not just on my merits alone, but on the contributions of the people who came before me. Thanks. So, this volume is, I believe, the most important volume of the series, because we sell data. The best way to sell good data is to collect good data. And at the clinic visit or the site visit, that is where you collect your data. So when I call the patient back, the very first thing that I do not go to the vital station. The very first thing I do is I take them to the exam room and I go through the AE and ConMed reconciliation. I do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, when you bring them back to the room, they can set all their things down and you don't have to worry about them leaving things in the vital station and, trying to carry stuff and maneuver. Number two, if they are a tobacco user, and let's say they smoked in their car before their visit, nicotine and caffeine are two things that will increase the heart rate and blood pressure for your vitals. So if they had a cigarette right before they came into the site, they came across the parking lot, they came into the office, they checked in with the receptionist, they sat in the waiting room, you called them in, you went through AE and ConMed's reconciliation, and then lo and behold, 30 minutes has passed. And so you can be pretty confident that any effects of nicotine and caffeine that may have occurred prior to them coming to the office, that those would no longer affect your vitals. The next reason also why I do that is because studies are different. And I want to make sure that I don't want to get in a routine of going to the vital station and doing a sitting blood pressure, then get back to the room and discover, oh, it was supposed to be supine. So I bring them to the room and do a adverse events and ConMed review. So with the adverse events, I already, if they had any visits with their PCP prior to, in the time period between their previous research visit, I try to get those records so that when they come in, I can look and I can check what we have for their meds and what was recorded from their PCP's office, and then I reconciliate any discrepancies. I also look for AEs that may have occurred during that time. I look to see if they had their flu shot or any immunizations during that time. I encourage them to bring the study subjects to bring their medications that they are currently using. That helps also in the process. If they get into a habit of bringing their medications, it never fails. You always collect something that they've been taking that had not previously been collected. And I've even had a 5-year study, and at the very last end of the study visit, there's some medication that's in there that they've been taking the entire 5 years that has never been documented. And so hopefully there's nothing that's exclusionary for the study. But when you get them in a habit and a routine of bringing them their medications, then you're pretty sure that everything that they have taken, you have recorded. I ask them, have you had any changes in your health since your last visit? Most of the time people are going to say, No. So I asked them again, have you had any procedures, any hospitalizations, or any surgeries? When you say that, sometimes they'll remember, oh, you know what, I did go to the ER because, this, that, or the other. Or, when I was, they'll think of something, they'll tell you whatever happened to them. I ask them specifically, have you taken anything over the counter? I go through the medications. Have you taken anything over the counter that we haven't yet recorded? Have you taken any new supplements or vitamins? Have you had the flu shot? When you ask these things specifically, you will gather that information. Also, when I'm doing that adverse event and ConMed review, I ask, one of the reasons why I do it first is because in that quiet time when they're sitting quietly while you're waiting to do their vitals, it never fails. They'll remember something that they did not tell you when you did the AE ConMed review. And so after you've taken their vitals, they'll go, oh, I forgot to tell you. I went to Mexico and got the stomach flu and I took this, that, the other. And then you can collect that information, or if they don't have it with them, I always tell them, can you email it to me or call me back with that information? And they will say yes. I also make a note of that in my source, because if they do not call me back, I will call them back. If they do not email it to me, then I will email them to get that information so that we can go ahead and record that. So after I've collected their adverse events and ConMeds, then I double check my visit sheet to make sure how the vitals are supposed to be taken. If they're supine, then you lay the patient back. If you have to do the EKG before the vitals, I do it in that order. And so when I'm in the mode for doing the procedures, I want to make sure that all of my procedures are done in the proper order, in the proper way. You collect good data, you get good data. You record good data, you have good data. So I don't want to be interrupted with them remembering something or bringing something or discussing something at that time, because usually when we get to clinic mode, they've done all their talking and they're looking at the time going, okay, I need to get out of this office, so what else are you going to have to do with me? So most important thing out of everything that I have said, never get into a routine where you mindlessly go from one thing to another. Make sure that you are following the protocol. Every protocol is different. The way they want things collected is different. If you make a note of that on your source documents, you can be sure that you are doing it the way it's supposed to be. Well, this is Harvania. These are Harvania's helpful hints. Please feel free to put in any comments, any things that you want me to cover or discuss in future volumes. Also, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, you will get notification when I upload my next video. Until next time, Harvania out.